So the other day I was talking about the Jeffrey Epstein files in the video, and I said the other day there's probably Irish politicians and other people involved that's related to Ireland. And I briefly made reference to this. This is from back in 2021. It was the only media article talking about it. That Jeffrey Epstein's private plane came here many, many times over the years, and all the evidence of who was on the plane when it came here were mysteriously shredded and got rid of, and there's never been any explanation to that. And of course I had that in my mind when the Jeffrey Epstein files came out. Half of them were redacted. Now we have this claim from a woman, and there's no doubt about it, it's legitimate. There's no doubt in my mind, from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI in other words, that she was trafficked to Ireland. And as you know, Ireland straight away has a very bad reputation for human trafficking, still to this day, would you believe. One of the worst in Europe. Like, think about that for a second. And it is very, very terrifying to see, especially because the implications are here straight away that it's very, very high up people in Irish society that were involved with Jeffrey Epstein. Still could be in Irish society, still could be former Taoiseachs, who knows, that's what I'm trying to say. And my question is the state aiding and abetting, the Irish state? What does the Irish state know about Jeffrey Epstein? What do they know? What does An Garda Síochána know? What does the intelligence service, whatever we have here, what do they know? Do they know anything about who was on Jeffrey Epstein's planes? Do they know anything? Surely they must. They couldn't be that incompetent on An Garda Síochána. They must have some records or something that they had some suspicion something was going on. Particularly, as I say, this is very gruesome when you read about it, because we're talking about a 12 to 13 year old at the time that was travelled from Paris to Ireland, and you just read through it yourself. It's very sickening, and the Dáil should be recalled straight away, to be totally honest in this, and we should be bringing up Drew Harris, we should be bringing up the Garda Commission at the moment, we should be bringing them up to the Oireachtas Committee and grilling them, and the same with the people over the airports, etc. The An Garda Síochána, the Defence Force, we should be bringing them all up and demanding answers on who these people are. What does the Irish state know? What do they know about this? But at the moment, the only thing we're hearing from the Irish media is crickets. They're reporting on it, but they're not saying we should recall the Dáil, and they should recall the Dáil, because these are very serious accusations that the Irish state know about them. That's what I want to know. And this is the thing the media should be asking. Did they know about this? Did the Irish state know about this before the FBI knew about it? Because there's no doubt about it that the state, particularly when it came to this, because this is the only article you will find, apart from maybe one or two other articles that are smaller, but the Irish Independent, to their credit, when 2021 talked about this, and this is back in 2021, the 4th of December 2021, there's never literally been any other article, apart from a few other small independent articles about this, but there's never been any explanation from the Irish state, from An Garda Síochána, from the Defence Forces, from anybody in the government, on what happened here. How did they just disappear? How did they get shredded? Because that's what was said, and we were told, yeah, they got shredded, deal with it, pretty much. That was the answer from the Irish state. But what exactly happened? And I think it's very relevant to ask that, because particularly with this, and again, there's no doubt about it, and reading through it yourself, we have to get who these people were. If they were Irish citizens, we have to find out who they are and hunt them down and get them. Because it's unacceptable that this even one of the most evil people of our time, Jeffrey Epstein, was even in this country, and it had people here. He brought young women, young girls, not even women, girls, to Ireland for this. Definitely, there's no such thing as, if these people are still alive, these politicians or whoever these people were, there's no question about where they're going. They're not going to prison. They have to get the death penalty, but that's where they should be going. There's no other word for it, because that's the only thing that's suitable for these people that done this, particularly people that I would say as politicians are notable people in society. And again, that's just as simple as that. And the people that's the only solution to that, because it's very, 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 very upsetting to see that this happened in Ireland, and it's probably still happening, unfortunately, today. But I want to know from the Irish state, and I probably will kick up a fuss over it for the next few days. What did the Irish state know about it? Because let's be fair, the Irish state has pretty much said nothing, apart from saying, oh yeah, the records were shredded. We don't know how it happened. It just happened. That was pretty much the only thing the Irish state has ever. But there needs to be questions asked. There needs to be an Oireachtas Committee established straight away, and drag in all the people from An Garda Síochána, the heads of An Garda Síochána, drag them in and shout at them and get the answers out of them. And the same from the Defence Forces, the Chief of Staff, etc., shouting at them, telling them what they know, what they did know, what they didn't know. Because surely, and I say this, unless the Gardaí are that incompetent in this country, in the Irish state, unless they're that incompetent, they must, because there's been files released the last few days from the state files. Surely to God, they knew something was up in some regards, and they knew who these people were. I'm sure that the Irish, as they said, the Gardaí wouldn't contacted the Journal.ie and a few other news articles have said the Gardaí wouldn't contacted by the FBI to find out what was the story. But we need to figure out what was happening and who these people were. And did Jeffrey Epstein know anybody else, or did he have associated with anybody else in Ireland? Because again, going by the records, just to say, he wasn't just here once, he was here a good few times. So was Ireland used as a trafficking hub from Paris? Because we all heard from the Jeffrey Epstein files that were released, it shows that they trafficked a lot of girls through Paris to other countries. So was Ireland the middle country, what I'm trying to say? Was Ireland from Paris to Ireland and into the United States? But this is the implications that's been raised now, because there's no doubt about it that someone in the department of some government department is aiding and abetting, and it's either the whole Irish state, or it's one civil servant, or it's one politician that's doing this. But it's the fact of the matter, the silence. That's what I'm saying, the absolute silence. But we need to know. The Irish public need to know. And first of all, the victims, and this girl in particular, this young woman in particular, she's in Germany now, it says. But we need to know who these people were. We need to bring them to justice. And we need to get justice for this woman. And for many women like her, she's not probably the only one in Ireland, unfortunately, this happened to. But we need to find them. I suppose we need to find them and deal with them. Even they could be dead, maybe. But I don't know. We have to see. But as I say to people, keep this in your mind and make sure to keep talking about this, because the Irish state is probably what to try and make this go away, so they don't have to deal with it. But we need justice, and this is totally evil what happened. Totally evil, and I hope these people, when their time does come, whenever the time does come on this out, I hope they face retribution for their actions in the next life, whenever they face their death. I hope they face hell for their actions for eternity. But yeah, it's despicable. The whole lot of it's just sickening. It's the worst thing ever, and that's to be told, it's the worst thing that has ever happened in our lifetime. It's shameful that it was allowed to go on for so long, and it's purely evil what the United States federal government is doing too, by holding information and basically protecting people that were doing this kind of carry on to young girls. It's purely evil, and that's just the only word to describe it, pure evil.